All right, Shalom. It's the brother Barzal from Great Millstone, London. I want to start out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Al Shai by Shem Kakwadash, the bonus of the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, and as you see, the title is going into basically there's no winning in America. The so-called white man, through the elite banking family, that vicious dynasty of thieves and you know, uh, corrupt men, corrupt individuals, they have conquered the world. And Job 9:24 is in full effect. That is a definitely a living scripture where it says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and they're using their power and their resources to oppress people. The word oppress goes back to the definition of to which in essence is oppressing down. And it means to extract someone for gold. You put pressure on the people in a nation, and they have to work in labor. Preferably, the tribe of Gad, which are the Native Americans, they had to work and toil the land continuously to retrieve goods, through the various gold rushes and give it to the so-called white man for him to be deemed filthy rich. Now you have in today's time, and it shows that we have no rights here, especially blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Really, all you citizens are just cursed, man. But it's mainly the blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. We don't have a pot to piss in, as the saying goes, or a window to throw it out. And it's being shown that even with the, so-called middle class, and this is under home equity theft, how a man's home was seized over $8.41 and unpaid taxes. So, I ain't gonna read too much on the this document, but I'll just hit the main point. But it says for 3 years the pair scrimped up and saved in order to fix up their 4-unit property. On the weeks, I'm just gonna jump down. Erica, who had seen her father work long hours and sacrifice to provide for her family over the years, was happy to help her father buy the property. Right, so this individual known as Erica, they actually came together through their tedious and long hours, and they actually purchased a property. And as we know, majority of these properties that's all over the United States are owned by the federal government. And in order to receive property, you have to go through mainly the banks, receive a loan. You're gonna have high interest rates, and if you don't pay for those things on time, then your property is able to get seized back from the banks. You see, and even if you have small payments, the banks want to get their properties back because it's all about what the so-called white man having totalitarian control, and you not having anything. That's why, which as the saying goes, property can't own property any dang way, man. We're property of this government. And the one thing that they don't want is individuals to have a level of liberty, a level of leisure, a level of resources. That's why it was even certain places where blacks raised up, such as Wall Street, and the so-called white men came and invaded those lands, and killed them off, dropped bombs on them, so on. The list goes on and on. Written them out of history. But it says she was eager to begin building her own financial legacy and saw the property as an excellent investment opportunity. These plans were derailed, however, when their property was seized by Wayne County, Michigan in 2017 and sold to a private buyer, all because they unknowingly underpaid their tax bill by $144. Hey, and that's a spiritual number, 144. You know, um, but you see how vicious the so-called white man is. The property got sold for $100,000, and this is just all to echo, to further elaborate and echo time and time again the ill will nature of the so-called white man. You like I said, you Jakes, you all have an American dream in your mindset. You all have a vision of making it in America. Jake always speaking about they made it here. And you haven't made it any goddamn where, man. You had, if I'm not mistaken, the comedian, I think Chris Rock, he said if the poor actually realized how rich the super rich were, that they would be riding overnight, which is definitely true. These so-called white men, you know, if their pockets got dropped down to a couple million, they probably commit suicide, man. These multi-billionaires, these movers and shakers, the political bigwigs, these business tycoons. And like I said, they get together through conspiracy to make sure that you never have anything to actually settle with. They make sure that you're resourceless. You constantly are on a hamster wheel, and you're always in a financial debt. That you try to climb out of time and time again, but more and more dirt is thrown on top of your living corpse, trying to climb out. So it makes it hard. Dirt and water, making it this, the walk, the climb up that much slipperier. It's like a slippy slope, and it's on an incline, and the elements are working against you. You see, so you know that's why the scriptures tells us in Micah the 2nd chapter, which I'm not going to get to, and if I'm mistaken 10, where it says, "This is not our rest, for this kingdom will surely destroy you." All right. So there is no winning here, and I'm gonna go down. Like I said, it was $144. The interest of it, raised up a couple hundred, but they took the property and they sold it for $108,000, and there's no outcry for these type of situations. And this is just as far as the economic side. You have the civil side. You see all these different Jakes being thrown in prison, for crimes that they didn't commit. You see these Jakes getting shot down. You see all these different individuals getting locked up innocently. You see, and you see how the government is pushing drugs. They're passing policies and legislations to keep your mouth shut. They're passing all kind of laws and policies to keep you at a perpetual debt. So this place is through, man. Isaiah 10:1 says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that ripe grievousness which they have prescribed." So the word woe means destruction. Destruction unto them that decree or write unrighteous decrees. You see? And who's the ones that's writing unrighteous decrees? Who has the power of the pen to write things in the law that nobody has a say-so? So-called white men, all right, through these different political rings. It's not just white men in its singularity. It's the nation. These political leaders. And you'll see a couple of blackheads in the midst, a couple of Latins, a couple of Indians, in certain positions in office, a couple of women, and you think that the layout is diverse. Nah, man, this is white. This is a white-owned country. They just put those individuals to make a mirage, to camouflage themselves, But at the end of the day, we know the man behind the man is the Illuminati, the international banker families, all right? And they have plans. They have the Zion Protocol. They have all kind of, the Georgia Guidestones. They have all these different plans in motion to keep Jake to keep Jake at the bottom and to stand on top of their corpse, strangle them out until they're non-existent. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. Right, so the so-called white man is robbing us, all right? And that's a prime example how they just got robbed for $108,000. There was no mercy from the government or the owners. They took it, and there's no say-so, there's no retaliation, there's no nothing. Because when you actually are under an individual, you have to fall upon the will of that individual. And if he's a psychotic psychopath and he likes to get his rocks off by doing all kind of vile things, then you basically have to take the lashing of the whip. And I'm not saying that in a sexual or sexual sense. I'm saying that in a sense of thievery, cunningness, interest, usury. All these things are forms of actually raping you out of your resources, the money that you make, is constantly overtaxed. You're getting underpaid, overworked, undersexed. You see, it's a vicious cycle, and the only way to break that cycle is turning to the ways of Yahweh Shema Shah and constantly administering unto this faith. You see, because there is a hope. We're prisoners of hope, and through our strong belief and our connection with the Lord, you know, we see through the vision of how things are going to transpire into righteousness, where we don't have to deal with the so-called white man and his oppressive nature. You know, it'll be joy in the kingdom of heaven, and we always have to have our minds set on paradise. It's a reason why Jake always talks about paradise, man. You know, they always talk about, even when Tupac was on the scene, he always spoke about heaven, heaven having a ghetto. You know, he had the wrong illustration, of course, but nonetheless, he had a level of understanding that there is a place better for this race of people, because where we're at right now is a living hell, man. It's a living hell. It's agonizing pain. It's always keeping you at a low. It's keeping you at a minimum. It's suppressing the true spirit, the true divinity that lays in one's soul. You know. So this is Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence. And to covet is to desire something strongly. And the field represents the world when you read Matthew the 13th chapter. All right? And when you covet something, that's a law that, and a commandment to never do. Desire something that's somebody else's. All right? When somebody pays for their property, when somebody owns their car, they own their women, whatever they work rigorously for, then that's ownership of themselves, man. You see? That was ownership of what they actually worked for through their personal labor. And when you take that, that's foul, man. That's wicked. So it says, and take them by violence. And not only do they take them, but they take them by violence. They'll crack you over the head. They'll lock you up. Seize whatever you have. That's why you have the terms seize forfeiture, if I'm not mistaken, where you have to forfeit your goods to the federal government if you drive around with a certain amount of money, and so-called unregistered, the government doesn't know where it came from, then they have rights to seize and you have to forfeit your goods. So it says, in houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. And we are those people that's being oppressed in our house. All right. The house is really the world, man. And the world belongs unto us. But you see how the so-called white man, through his blessings, which his blessing was the fatness of the earth, and also his blessing was the sword. And he's exercising both of them very, very strongly. He's not putting the sword down. He's not showing any type of favor. He's not showing any type of mercy. He's a merciless bastard. And the only way to overcome is, like I said, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, and fighting, through the spirit. So I want to end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shema Shai, by Shem Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Akim.